right? So, non-functional, we talked about it. Let's talk about how do we prioritize the requirement, right? That is the most useful thing and a necessary thing to discuss. So, prioritize the requirement is process of representing the priority of a given requirement and relative to all other requirement and business goal of the project. So whenever you are talk about a priority, it always comes as a parallel some other requirement. You cannot prioritize a single requirement. This is a priority. You have to decide the precedent. What would be the first, what would be the second, right? Depending on what kind of business you want to, business goal you want to achieve. So suppose we take the example um about our Tesla example, right? So Tesla wants to build a vehicle, and before powertrain and everything, if you talk about brakes and everything, and provided that priority as a topmost, that is not the thing. Without any vehicle, you don't know that how much torque it will going to generate from the battery pack and drivetrain, right? So you have to understand what kind of torque you are getting, what kind of acceleration it will going to generate. Depending on that, you have to adjust the brakes, whatever is comfortable and appropriate, over that matches with the torque, right? So that precedence is always lower than the drivetrain, adjusting the motor, the battery pack inside the vehicle, and then after comes as we talk about brakes, right? So this is just an example. If we talk about any software example, if we are building some priority on the back end, or development with PayPal example. So we are doing a project where we are building a system which will going to enhance or reduce the performance, reduce the time in the basically the performance related stuff. So you have to think that before changing into UI, your more priority would be to work on backend code and providing those algorithm which will going to enhance that particular feature, whatever the business goal is. If it will going to achieve, then you will going to move forward with other stuff, right? That is your highest precedent work or requirement need to accomplish. So prioritize can be following this critical requirement, important requirement, and nice to have requirement. So critical is very essential thing for acceptance of any solution. Critical requirement is must be fulfilled. If you are not able to fulfill that those critical requirement, you don't have the solution. You don't have the solution for your business problem or whatever you want to achieve from your particular project. Then the important requirement is the effectiveness or efficiency of the system or its functionality. So whatever you are doing, it's supposed to be efficiently. The things whatever you are working, it's supposed to be neat. So if you ask, you must have some question like, they are developing a software. How can be more efficient? They are just writing a code, but you know providing a solution to a complex algorithm, there there won't be a single solution to that. You can reach to that particular solution by probably like thousand or probably million ways to do that. So you have to be specific how we are able to get some efficient way or working if efficiently to solve some particular business problem, not just some high school graduate or college graduate will going to write the code which is working. In a technical programming, it's called the spaghetti coding. So we don't need to write a spaghetti coding. It's supposed to look like. Can you can you guys mute yourself? I'm hearing a lots and lots of noise. So it's supposed to be look like a professional work, not just like any university graduated wrote the code and fix the problem, right? It's supposed to be well structured. If we talk about more technically and the coding perspective, there is a number of ways to go a structure programming, object oriented programming. There is a ways to do it. All team and all companies follow some certain methodology. They follow some certain rules to make whatever the product they are developing. It has to be a benchmark. It's supposed to be proper documented. It's supposed to have some test cases. Everything should be there. So this is called important requirement. Lack of inclusion may affect the customer or user satisfaction. So if it is not neat and clean, if it is not efficient or effective, then it will going to create some problem, lagging issue or something. So suppose what happened today with Slack will be down, was down, everybody going to the office after the holiday, something happened. So there might be some problem probably from the server side, the code or anything. But you can see a problem like this might going to affect the business as well. People think, or CEO of the company, huge company, corporation think that this is not reliable. We should switch to Microsoft Teams, right? So they have the same kind of functionality. We can buy a Microsoft package. Everything would be Microsoft. No need to use Slack. It can be possible, right? So always need to think about it, those kind of stuff whenever you are developing. And it is your job as a business analyst, it is your job to see that whether they are going through, they are means all the team members, stakeholders I'm talking about, they are going through this process, effectiveness, efficiency of the product, everything, whatever they are working. And third one is nice to have requirement. So this is nice to have, will going to work as a cherry on the cake. You already have the cake, right? It looks good, it tastes good, everything is there. But how you can make it more customer satisfactory or customer attractive product, right? So those kind of stuff, you can include your Tesla vehicle with leather interior, a nice leather interior, very soft, right? A very good color combination of a dashboard and screen and lighting, everything. So those kind of things called nice to have requirement. It will not going to affect your product in a functional way or anything, but it will going to enhance your product on in terms of customer satisfaction, right? So after that we will going to see some of the things. We are in chapter 3, right? Yes. So far? Why? I was just trying to scroll. I mean, are we in chapter 3 so far, right? We didn't went to the chapter 4. No. Okay. So with prioritized requirement, there is a technically some stuff where you can how you can prioritize the all the requirement and how you go through that. The first is technical effort. The second is risk to complete. The third one is verify the requirement. What are the good requirements? What are the bad requirements? Sometimes people talk in a huge meeting and they claim a lot of stuff. This is a very necessary, or sometimes people say something. It doesn't mean that this is a genuine request. So you have to verify it whether it's genuine or they are just saying a lot of things. I used to had that kind of boss who is just throwing around bunch of stuff every day in a meeting that we need this that, but you have to be specific. It is not like you are just throwing the bunch of things and it will be done. And I'm not a genie and I'm not come with a wand or something like that from Harry Potter. I shake my wand and everything will going to appear, right? So it has to be specific. Root cause of the analysis, you need to see the root cause, why we are doing this, why it is impactable to the particular project what you are working on, and how it will going to affect the business as well. And the fishbone diagram, I will going to explain you about fishbone diagram. It's just like a fishbone. If you ever see or eat fish, you know it. So let's get started. Technical effort. So set by the technical development team because of some features requirement is more time resources than others. Because what happens, if you work with any technical team, there are some lots of technical difficulties. There are some learning curve for the team as well. Even though there are people who has lots of experience within a team, there is a learning curve for them and as well as for the team members. So it is a lot of things you need to consider and need to discuss with them, um, and about the resources as well. How it will going to impact if we don't have some certain resources, if they are developing some product and the entire team they don't have AWS experience. AWS is Amazon Web Services. It's a cloud platform services provided by Amazon, and nobody have that much experience. Then you should have to have hire somebody who has significant amount of AWS experience. So it will going to impact your team performance and related stuff, even though you are not running all day any kind of AWS service. You will going to deploy it once it will going to complete, right? So it has to have three kind of stages: high, medium, and low. So whenever you are talking with a technical team, you are not the technical expert, right? Whatever they are saying, so you need to ask them whatever they are saying, how impactful this certain requirement, or how you can prioritize some certain things. So you can, oh yeah, you can turn it on. So you can ask them, whether it's high priority, medium priority, or low priority. Whenever you are discussing, because you are not the person who knows 0 to 100 percentage everything whatever they are talking about. So you have to give them numbers or something like that, 1 to 5. More technically high, medium, and low priority. So everybody, suppose you have 5 developers, right? So 5 developer will going to say this is high, high. Two will say high, three will say medium, right? So you can summarize every body. Then the medium would be the median value of 5, right? So you should go with that direction rather than dictating the entire team by some a single person decision. Go with the team flow. That is the best way to prioritize or discuss any requirements. And you have to take all the notes because you are the person who is going to take care of those things, right? As a business analyst. Second is risk to complete. So set by the development team based on the priority probability the project will experience undesirable event. So sometimes what happen, you are working on some certain things and there is a learning curve. So never know whether it will going to succeed or it will going to fail. Or if it is failing, then you have to find another solution, right? So all these kind of scenarios, if you are going in some uncharted, you means your technical team I'm talking about, technology team, who will going to write or develop the entire code or entire mechanism for the software. So you have to talk about it. What is a risk to complete? Is there a risk, high risk involvement? So you should have give more buffer time. The more buffer time will going to end up with it is a high risk. So whatever or whoever is working on some certain thing, he or she get more buffer time to complete the work rather than just forcing them to work on 12 hours a day or something like that, which will going to end up reduce your efficiency as a person as well as a team. Other thing is such as a cost overrun. Sometimes what happened, some risk are associated with the costing as well. So if it is get delayed, then your project will be overcosted. So you overruns, not overcosted, overruns the budget. So because of that, you have to talk with your project manager about it and discuss about it, how they want to manage some money, cash flow for certain amount of time period. So we don't need to fire or something will going to go in a very bad way, right? They might be have to fire somebody or lay off some of the contractor to maintain the speed for the particular project, what's going on with their end, as well as maintaining the particular team rather than downsizing is a very normal thing in any software development scenario where they will going to release bunch of contractor because they don't have budget or probably overrun the budget from the particular time frame. Most project manager find categories risk as a high, medium, and low. So these three are also, you can normalize and discuss about risk to complete. Uh, so some item considered when accessing the risk for each requirement include dependency on external system, that is data warehouse, general ledger system, that etc. Dependency on re-engineering an offline process. So if they are doing some back office or call center or something like that, re-engineering some stuff or something like that, it will going to extend some time period over there. Ease of defining and gathering requirement country content, definition of offering and placement, the uncertainty of project terms, schedule, estimate, whatever you have scheduled, but it will going to become uncertain whenever you are running into some kind of issue or something like that. So whenever you are asking discussing requirement, you have to ask risk to complete, and you can categorize into three as we discuss in technical effort as well: high, medium, and low. High level risk including high possibility of negative consequences. Medium is mediator negative consequences, and low would be low negative consequences, right? Because without any consequences you cannot live in this world, so it will going to apply on on as a project, uh, any of the project with development or anything, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Third thing is verify the requirement, whether it's a good requirement, because these kind of stuff, for the people who has a big mouth, there should be some big mouth in anywhere, right? Anywhere, they're showing off a lot of stuff which is not exist. I met, in a lot of corporation, people say something 90%, they are just rubbishly speaking all the things, right? So you have to understand, is it good requirement or it is not, whether it's a genuine one or not. So you have to ask two questions. What is the good requirement? First, what is the smart requirement? Smart requirement. So suppose if you are working on something and it has similar kind of requirement, probably two, three requirements, you can combine it to one requirement asked by different stakeholders. So good requirement should be, you can take a note if you want to, complete. So the describe or criteria very well. So it has to be complete. Good requirement should be complete requirement from starting to ending. So you can see completely what's in any stakeholder's mind rather than just throwing bunch of idea and not providing details. Correct. They are accurate, whether they are genuine or not, right? Or just throwing everything, right? Feasibility, right? They can accomplish. So sometimes what happen, uh, people are asking a lot of stuff which is not feasible. It is not possible to complete in certain time frame with some certain budget. So you have to see that with the whether the whatever the requirement is feasible or non-feasible. You don't have a team, you don't have a resources. How can anybody can possibly finish some certain work in some certain time frame? It is not, it is not possible. So if it is, then you have to communicate that this is not a feasible requirement. If you want to accomplish this, we need this amount of people, this much of money, and this amount of time, right? It could be anything necessary. So you need to ask that, whatever the functional property or whatever the requirement coming to you, is it necessary or it is not, right? So you don't be an expert. You have to discuss with entire stakeholders and technical lead, architecture, right? So if somebody say that we need to use two cloud services, AWS and GCP. So what it will going to happen, you can use two, probably three, it doesn't matter, but it will going to potentially increase your uh, costing, right? You are paying two services for the same kind of similar kind of stuff and everything. And then architecture will say that, why don't we go with only one, right? And then stakeholders say, no, something went down, AWS will went down, that I don't want to get into that zone, that wherever we are out of service or something like that. Then you know the architecture will going to say that it will going to costing something like this. It will not going to immediate happen, probably in the next meeting or something, where they will going to figure it out how much it will going to cost. And that architecture will going to convey that message to you, business analyst, and business analyst convey that message to the project manager. Project manager said, no, this is absolutely not possible because we are not able to afford, because I don't have money, right? So you have to check and you have to make sure whether it's necessary or not. Whatever the stakeholders say, and you will do that operation, then your job is like, working as a postman. Postmen don't know that, what kind of message you are getting in the letter, in your mailbox. They are just passing the message. You are not a postman. You have to be involved in all those things as a business analyst. The third thing is prioritize. Sorry, right? I'm still have to do that. Prioritize. So because not all part of the system can be applied the same time, money, everything, and nice to have and absolutely necessary kind of requirement. Based on that, you have to prioritize. Unambiguous, there are clear and cannot be misinterpreted any kind of communication, misinterpreted or miscommunicated that scenario, you have to understand the requirement clearly. Something like that, somebody is communicating, but you don't understand as a team, you don't understand. Then, you have to tell them, make it more in a very simpler language or something like that so everybody can understand. And verifiable, whether the requirement is verifiable, how we can test, how we can verify whether it's genuine or whether it's testable or not, right? So this is how you verify all the requirements, right? Back to the uh, what we are seeing. We are seeing the good requirement. So root cause analysis. When you are doing root cause analysis, there are many root cause analysis tool that is available. We will going to talk about it. The root cause analysis you can do by fishbone diagram as well. What is the root cause of any problem? And root cause means you need to figure it out what is the root cause of some certain requirement or why it is happening. If any issue will going to come, what is the root cause of any problem? If there is an outage, so let's take an example of Slack. Today morning it went down. So there are some team in the Slack company. They will going to find out whether they are up and running, but they will going to find out what is the root cause of the issue, why it was down. Because if it is down, it is unreliable. Because it is unreliable, less people or less customer will going to interest in the services, right? So they will going to talk about it, how and why. So let's talk about fishbone diagram. So here you can see a fishbone diagram. There is a main central line you can see over here. That is a part of the process, and it is pointing toward problem. Whatever the problem is going through it, lot of processes going, manpower, measurement, material, mother nature, machinery, methodology. So these are the external elements, right? These are the external elements. What are the I beg your pardon? Like, what are the examples of measurement? What are the examples of the measurement problem related with the measurement? So this is how you do the root cause analysis. So let's take example. Let's go with the Slack example, right? So Slack example was, what is the problem with Slack? The outage happened, right? So over here it would be outage. Problem would be outage happen with Slack, right? So there is a manpower associated with Slack team, who is responsible, DevOps team, who is responsible to up and running the services, right? There is another team, whether it's a holiday or not holiday, somebody, will going to take care of those services. Somebody is monitoring all the time. There are some tools, and there is a people on the standby. If something happened, they are the first person to take the action over there. Measurement, is it big, small, what kind of material, what is the material, why it is happening, right? Mother nature, whether it's because of the mother nature, some server are located in somewhere in Himalaya or something, an earthquake happened, and that server, because of the earthquake or avalanche of ice, that server cut off from the power or the from the internet or something, right? So that is called mother nature. Machinery, if there is a problem in their servers. But yeah, I mean, as far as looking at this diagram, I understand like whatever the problems comes with like manpower, those are related to the manpower, whether it is in mother nature, like a nature or issues which we are out of control, that belongs
from the mother nature. All these things is pretty clear. But in terms of like measurement, is it a problem, or are we approaching to those problems and we're calculating or trying to solve? Is that something representing, or even that is a problem?
No, fishbone diagram is basically how we are proceeding to some problem. It is a graphical representation of any problem. So if you are seeing some problem and you have did the analysis and you find the solution, right? So problem is to find a solution why it is happening, right? So everybody will going to, because of that, problem occur. So everybody will going to figure it out why it is happening, and you have to each bone over here, each bone, that is called the bone. This is the spinal cord, right? The central line is spinal cord. This is the bone, right? Fish bone. So each bone represent, you know what are the factors why it is happening, how it will going to affect to the problem. So slack is down, we can say it might be a manpower issue. The person is not available, he didn't monitor the measurement, whether it's not able to measure the, the tool has been breakdown, and then, because of that, it happened. The material whatever is associated,
If the tool has been breakdown, that can be considered as a machinery, right?
considered
The
as a what?
problem can be considered machinery. How we
Machinery,
can consider the
machinery, no,
problem
no,
after
no, no.
measurement?
Tool, software tool is not considered as a machinery. Machinery is a mechanical thing. So server and all, that is considered
Okay.
as a machinery. Server, hard disk,
Okay.
everything, it's considered as a machinery.
Machinery. Okay. So what's the difference between methodology and measurement?
So
Methodology
methodology,
does it represent any software or package or something like
no,
that?
no, no. Methodology is uh, what kind of methodology you are doing to perform some certain action. So So you
Kind of
have
approach.
uploaded Slack, whatever the Slack, production software into any cloud services, right? And there is a methodology set up by the architect. This is how we will going to monitor the system. If the methodology is wrong, whatever they are looking for, that might be wrong, or however they implement it, right? There is a certain way to implement any software into cloud system. There are some certain rules they how they are following and develop any certain softwares, right? There is not a single software, there is a cluster of software. It has a small component. So how architecture design, what kind of methodology he or she used to develop that software. So because of some wrong methodology, it might not give you problem right now, but it might give you problem in the future. Simple example, youtube what happened in which year, I forgot the year. Probably it was in 2014 or 15, right? Gangnam Style happened when? Yeah, right? Sai. 16? So whenever, this happened, with Sai uploaded his video of a Gangnam Style. So at YouTube, nobody think that, it will going to exceed 1 billion views, or, you know, so what happened, because of that, it crashed after 99999. It the entire server has been crashed because they don't have provided whatever the value is represented in that particular memory location. It exceed that particular memory, so it's supposed, it might be an integer, I'm guessing. And earlier, right now, with I think it's Python and other things, they develop the entire website. So they probably use an integer value. So because it has a limitation, you can represent a certain number or certain length of the number with the integer value. If it will going to exceed that limit, then your whatever the value you are storing in a variable, it is out of the memory, and it will going to error out. So it is erroring out, and YouTube crashes from because of that, and nobody think about it, right? So that methodology, whoever developed that particular software didn't think through it. Y2K problem. Do you know about Y2K problem? The year of 2000. Nobody knows about it. Y2K problem. Google it. Y2K problem. Y2K. Nobody knows about it. I'm surprised. Y2K. Malav, you don't know about Y2K?
Okay. No, I don't know, but I am searching now.
So, what is the Y2K? Whatever the software
Millennium work.
at yes, it didn't change the date. So, whoever developed the software at that period of time, before 1999 to 2000, before 2000, because year is running from 1998, 1991, 1992, 1993, and 99, right? At year end is, and the entire millennium will going to change, right? We are in 99, so everybody in the calendar representing 91, 92, 93, 94, right? Not the entire date, 1991, 1992. So because of that, all the software has to be updated, their calendar and everything. If they don't, it will going to start from 01, 00. So it will going to irrelevant the date. So that is the Y2K problem. So at that time, it was a huge thing in 1999. I was probably in nine 99. Everybody knows about it, and everybody started to upgrade their software. So at that time, software is not a huge thing. It is not affecting all day to day life. There were no cell phone. There were cell phone, but they are not smart cell phone. And yes, and because of that, but software are still using. Stock market everywhere. You can see software was heavily involved. So they have to update their software because of the Y2K problem. That was a huge thing. Probably I was probably in 5 or 6 standard or something like that at that time. So it was a huge thing. So that is methodology. Do you understand, Abdul?
Yeah, I
Methodology.
mean, I just Google for the measurement fishbone, and it shows like something related with this scientific, like let's say the distance or the volume or the velocity, anything caused by this problem,
But there
it
would
can
be
be
no
considered as a measurement.
velocity. Fishbone diagram is not only representing in just in a business analyst or solving the problem. It can be
The description, yeah, the description is something like this: inspection
general.
and other physical measurements
Yeah.
which caused by distance, volume, temperature, pressure, etc., whether manual or automatic.
Yes. So it cannot be applied to this whatever the example we are seeing right now. It cannot be applied because fishbone diagram is a representation of a problem solving and find a root cause of a problem.
Yeah.
So identify undesirable effort or problem, and write it at the head of the fishbone. Whatever you will going to write at the head of the fishbone. Over here is the head of the fishbone. You will going to write over, right? So let's take an example. In the book, it will say like delay deployment. Assign a major category caused by typical categories including M's. Six M's: manpower, materials, measurement, methodology, machinery, and Mother Nature. Let's categorize one for the material. Now, brainstorming techniques that team up with defining more detailed cause, walk through each category and ask why each major causes, and 5 why technique explain. So what is 5 why technique? Testing software not deliver on time. Why? Somebody will going to say testing software is not deliver on time, and you have to ask why. Why it happened? Supply did not meet our schedule. So whoever is supplier, they supposed to provide some servers or something. They are not able to do some certain things. The project schedule was not correct. Whatever the schedule has been uh, scheduled for the project, it is not correct. The need date was determined incorrectly. Whatever the date is determined for the need or required at that time, it is not correct. Procurement did not understand priority. So they didn't see that this is a prioritized stuff to get the server, so they didn't provided all the materials on the time, right? So these 6 M are the problem. Solving the problem, you can ask why to some question and get the root cause. This is a methodology to get a root cause of any problem. Why it is happen, how it is happen, and it can be change, or you can make it more not repeating next time as well. So it is kind of a learning lesson and find a root cause of any problem. So if the problem is the Slack outage, right? So whatever the project manager is, he will going to ask first of all to whoever is DevOps team, whoever in charge of that particular thing. He will going to ask to that head of the team or technical lead of the team why it happened. Then technical team will going to say that because of a issue with some server, cloud server, it happened. Then they will going to ask to the cloud service providing why it happened. Until you get the problem root cause. Root cause means whatever the root of your tree, the inside, whatever it is inside the soil, right? That is the main foundation of the tree. That's how the tree entirely grow, right? So you have to go deep dive and go inside of it. You will going to start with the branches, you will go to main branch, and then you will go to the trunk. You will go down 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 and you can find the root. So you will suppose somebody will going to say there is a no measurement, there is a measurement issue. So you will go into measurement issue, you will go to the root of spinal cord over here and find the problem. This is the problem. That's how it happens. So let me give you one example of my from my experience what happened and how I resolved it. So what happened, we were deploying of one of the services into cloud platform in GCP, and it is a very crucial thing. It will going to impact really highly. There is a new front end component and everything, and it's supposed to go live in some certain date and some certain time. But because of some issue, developer not able to deploy it. They come to me. I said, let me look at into it. I try to do it from my side. I have developed some script and everything. I try to run that script, but it is not happening. I do it manually as well, but it is not happening. And there is an error is showing. Not error because of the software, because on the GCP side. Then what I see the error, I find out that why it is showing this particular error, and I go on Google and search about all the possibility of answer. How can I do? And then I started trial and error. I try something, I error out, I try another thing, error out. So it will take like 5 6 hours whatever is scheduled, but we are able to fulfill that requirement. And I find the what is the root cause of the problem. On the next day I provided update to CTO. This is the problem, this is the root cause, because of this we are facing this issue, and we were delay 5 hours for some going live to the production. And next thing he will going to ask me is how we can avoid this problem next time, right? Because we don't need to repeat that problem over and over again. So I tell him that the architecture methodology, whatever the methodology we have implemented was wrong. It exceeds some certain limitation. So either we have to change our methodology, the way it's set up. Because of that, it will not going to appear the same kind of issue or problem in the future. So this is how entire way you can find a root cause of any problem and provide the solution. Because all the management and all the stakeholders, they don't want to understand the problem and how you resolve it. They just want to see the solution. That's how they are interested into any stuff, because they don't have time for do this, right? They are busy with their own work. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So there is a 5 ways of technique requirement analysis tip in the book. Let's talk about it because it is important. Next topic is document. I don't think so. We are able to do it. So 5 ways of technique. You can use 5 whys technique. Whys, right? 5 whys in the root cause analysis to prevent the team from being satisfied by simplification solution that will not fix the actual problem in the long run. So why we are doing this? Why we are finding the root cause? Because whatever the problem is occurred, why it occurred, how we can avoid next time in the future. That's how the entire team will going to evolve. If we are repeating one and every day same and same mistake, you know people will going to consider you are doing a dumb stuff, right? You are a dumb person, you are doing the same kind of thing. So that's why we are fixing the problem. If you have a leakage in your pipe, you will going to fix it rather than just put it over there. It will going to happen. I just want to use this time only this water. I Next day I will not going to use it. Next day you will need that problem. You need to face that problem again and again. So this technique is also useful tool in your requirement hallucination session to help your understand the need of specific requirement. So why it is necessary? 5 ways technique of get a root cause of any problem, fishbone diagram, because it will going to helpful to hallucinate, hallucination session to get all the requirement from the stakeholders. So didn't mean that you always have to ask 5 whys. It might be one why and you will get the answer, right? It might be 7 whys and you will get the answer, right? The analyze phase define the detailed user requirement to the level of detail sufficient for the system design to proceed. The requirements at the end of this phase need to be measurable. So measurable means it can be measured in some certain category. As Abdul said, temperature and everything. There should be a numberized, arithmetic way to measure all the things, right? So prioritize the requirement. There is arithmetic representation of the priority as well. This is number one, that is number two, that is number four, right? And also, what would be the test result? You can measure as well, whatever the 100 percentage of your coverage, how much percentage of coverage you have tested. So on the business side, everybody can understand the requirement and the measurement associated with any problem. Discover the need of the business rather than invention. What is the need? What is the invention? What is the need and what is the invention?
Invention is actually inventing the product.
And need?
Need of what? The product? I mean, they're totally different things. They don't have any necessity thing. Like we require specific. Like it's needed. It's important.
So what is the need?
Are you talking about the difference between those two words? Those are totally different words. I mean,
No, on the business side, there is a need, right?
yes.
And there is a requirement, right?
Yes.
If anybody is producing, any company is producing something, there are some need,
Yes.
right? And there is some invention.
Yeah, so there is a need. That's why there is gonna be an invention because it's a, so.
So suppose uh, Apple introduces in the 90s AirPod.
Yes.
Is it a needed product or is it a new invention?
The AirPods, it's a needed.
Needed. Why it is
It's
needed?
need to make to make it more easier for the customers. For the AirPods.
But there were
To
no
get rid of
AirPods,
this
right?
wire cables.
Huh?
Yeah, to get rid of this to get rid of the wireless thing. We can use hands free. People used to get those the wire earphones. So AirPods were actually needed.
No, not AirPods. I was talking about
The
iPad. No, not iPad. The
and like watch.
no.
iPod.
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 Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So iPod was first introduced in 90s, right?
Yeah.
By Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
There were no a product or similar kind of product in the market at that time.
Tablets.
iPod is tablet.
No, iPod is kind of a tablet, right? But it's smaller than a tablet, right? It's kind of a tablet, iPod. No? Maybe maybe situation for the it's a screen. Walkman. It's a screen, right? I mean, we had like a Walkman.
Yeah,
the past,
we had a Walkman in
iPod
80s,
something.
90s.
Yeah.
People are using
So
it,
yeah,
but iPod
that was
become
it was big
a
inside.
day to day necessity. So it started as an invention and it become a need after that.
Same like a mobile. Like
Yeah, cell phone is
started
also
like
a
an
invention and it become
but
a need.
later on it yeah. So it's not
Invention is
always
nothing but
necessary that a need is going to become an
new
invention. Sometimes an invention can become a need.
Yes.
Okay, so
People get addicted or user
and
get
then it becomes
addicted.
your need.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes. So in the business as well, I just want to make a point. In a business as well, there is a room for invention and there is a need. Right? If business is, let's talk about Tesla, right? Tesla in 2019, last year, they committed that we will going to start production of Model 3. They get delayed because of some production issue. Investor put tons of money, billions of dollars in the company. They are burning out all the money. They are not able to make a single dollar of profit out of it. And Tesla is operational since 2007. They didn't make a single dollar of profit. Then what happens? Because of they are running out of money and all those things. They need to it is necessity, that is a business need. They have to go live with Model 3. Otherwise, they, any of the invention. What is the invention product for them? Tesla Roadster. Tesla Roadster, probably in 2017 or something, or 2018. Elon Musk introduced that we will going to make this very expensive roadster car, which will go extremely fast. It will as categorized as hyper speed or hyper uber ultra sports car or something, right? Very very expensive and very 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 fast. That is invention. That is not need. If we see the market very limited, but if they are not able to satisfy the need is to survive the company, to become a profitable. If they are not able to succeed with model 3, there is no dream of new invention, just like a roadster. There will be no money to pour in the business to get a roadster, right? They almost bankrupt. Probably like they only left money for 1 month only. Elon Musk talked with lots and lots of people in the business very secretly to sell Tesla, because he is not. He thought that I'm not able to do it, but somehow they survived. They started delivery, and somehow that product got skyrocketed. You know, and delivery started everything. Nowadays, they have started a factory in Germany. China factory is also operational. They are wrapping up the project over here in Fremont. They are moving their headquarters to Texas. Texas, they are building a huge factory, right? So, what I'm saying, because of the business need, that is a business need, Model 3, the invention, if he prioritize the invention at the first place before the need, whether he is able to survive as a company, no, right? So, as a business analyst, you have to understand what is required, what is need for the business, rather than putting our effort to invent a new thing, right? Because invention, you never know whether it will going to successful, whether it will going to fail, right? Everybody talk about Apple has a very awesome laptop, very awesome iPad, iPod, tablet, everything. Nobody talk about their failure product, right? Do they have failure? They have tons of failed products. They come up with a console, gaming console, which is very pathetic, and it was a total disaster. But nobody talk about it because they suppress those things, right? So that is a new invention. They probably put a lot of money in it, but the entire project sink, right? Because it was not a good product at that time. No, it was. No, it is a new invention. It was a new invention, but it is unsuccessful product. Because of the unsuccessful, whatever the innovation, business, that is not the business need. If they are successful, they can make more money out of it, and they can start a successful chain of the product, right? But it is a failure of an invention. Fact rather than opinion. Always talk about facts rather than opinion. According to my opinion, no give a shit about anybody's opinion in the business. Always go with the fact check, and you have to check the fact, right? It's not an opinion game. Question rather than answer. You have to ask question rather than looking for answers, right? People will say that come up with question, that no, you have to see the uh, give me the answer. As a business analyst, you have to ask the questions. So BA will going to provide the solution of all the complex problem. So you have to see the entire thorough process, and before asking all the questions, that should be a proper solution for any complicated business problem. What and why rather than how. What and why rather than how. How I am going to do this, that is not anybody's problem. Stakeholders hired you because you will going to answer how. How I am going to do that. If you ask that, you will get fired in second, probably in that meeting. So you have to ask what is the requirement, why it is necessary, not how it is, how I'm going to do this. So ask the right question always. So let's discuss till now about